Throughout every age of history, there are certain mysteries and bizarre phenomena that remain unexplained. These cases can vary widely from individual missing people to significant events that shaped history. Some ancient stories remain shrouded in mystery, with historians left stumped about whether they're fact or fiction. Number 5. In England during the 12th century, a story began spreading about a bizarre event that had apparently occurred during the reign of King Stephen, who ruled from 1135 to 1154. According to accounts from the historians William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall, 2 children once appeared in a wolf pit in a village in Suffolk called Woolpit. They were brother and sister, and the language they used was unknown to the villagers. But the most fascinating detail that has persisted over the centuries since their appearance is that they had green skin. This may have been a result of the diet of raw broad beans, which was the only food the children ate in the days after they were taken in. The story gets even more mysterious from here, though. Apparently, after learning English, the children claimed to come from a land where the sun never shone and everything was green. The girl called it St. Martin's Land. William's account states that the 2 suddenly found themselves at the bottom of a wolf pit after hearing a loud noise while herding cattle. Ralph's account, on the other hand, claims the children had followed cattle into a cave and followed the sound of bells until they appeared in their land. Some say that the girl adapted to normal food and gradually lost her green color, and that she became a servant in the house of Richard de Calne, the man who had taken the children in. There are conflicting reports about men that she may have married. The astronomer Duncan Lunan researched the family of Richard de Calne and claims that the girl grew up to marry the medieval royal officer Richard Barr. The biggest question is whether this story could actually be true. There are some reasons to think it comes from folklore, including the popular motif of children wandering in the woods and stumbling upon a new land. But other scholars have speculated on potential explanations for the children's green skin, including arsenic poisoning or chlorosis, a condition that comes from malnutrition. One popular theory is that the children were descended from Flemish immigrants who had been persecuted or killed. In this theory, the children wandered without their parents until they reached Woolpit. There remains no definitive evidence for most aspects of this story. Because of its occurrence in a small village during a time with less verified historical sources, it's unlikely we will ever know the full truth of whether the green children of Woolpit were real, and if they were, why they had this unusual coloring. Number 4. One of the most famous examples of humans training an animal to communicate with sign language is Coco, a female western lowland gorilla who lived from 1971 to 2018. The researcher Francine Patterson began teaching Coco sign language at the San Francisco Zoo in 1972, before they relocated with Patterson's group to the Gorilla Foundation on the Santa Cruz Mountains. Over the course of her life, Coco picked up more than 1,000 signs and could understand 2,000 words of spoken English. She even made the cover of National Geographic magazine twice, once in 1978 and once in 1985. And played with Robin Williams in one video in 2001. The research gained from Coco was considered a huge leap in our understanding of apes, especially because she showed many human-like traits. For example, Coco was able to refer to objects that weren't currently present, and she passed the mirror test, which determines whether an animal can recognize itself. She also seemed to have a sense of humor and a mischievous personality. This was demonstrated when Cynthia Gorey interviewed Coco in 1985, and Coco initially called her a toilet before getting used to her. But the most amazing and mysterious messages from Coco are related to the subject of death. After asking for a kitten for a Christmas present, Coco was given a cat that she named All Ball, a rhyming joke about the cat looking like a ball. But when All Ball passed away and researchers told Coco about it, she reacted in silence for 10 minutes before beginning to whimper and sign "sleep cat." This showed that she may be able to understand death and experience grief for other animals. In another interview, Coco was asked, "Where do gorillas go when they die?" And she answered, "A comfortable hole." Coco could be referring to burial spots for animals, or she could be referring to an afterlife. The answers are unclear. However, there are disagreements about just how much Coco understood. Some say that she didn't actually comprehend her own signs and was just replicating movements that she observed from researchers. Others suspect she was being prompted by trainers' cues or bribed by their rewards for signing. Still, based on her specific linguistic and emotional reactions to both basic concepts and more serious philosophical topics like death, it seems unlikely all of these findings were fabricated. It remains an unexplained mystery exactly how much Coco understood. Number 3. In 1912, a Polish-Lithuanian rare books dealer named Wilfrid Voynich rediscovered a manuscript that had been around for hundreds of years. The parchment used to write the manuscript has been carbon dated to the early 1400s and may have been written in Italy. But aside from these facts, many of the biggest questions about the Thevoynish Manuscript remain unanswered. 240 pages of writing have been recovered, but the author is unknown, as is the actual writing system used in the manuscript. The lack of knowledge about the basic facts of the manuscript have led to its reputation as the world's most mysterious book. The Thevoynish Manuscript is full of beautiful and complex illustrations of strange plants and constellations, though the images are too mysterious to make sense of the language itself. It seems like there are 5 different sections, including a chapter of miniature female nudes showing pregnant women interacting with bizarre tubes, capsules, and fluids. To make this phenomenon even more fascinating, the manuscript has been seen on and off throughout history. It once resided in a library of Rudolf II, the Holy Roman Emperor. Currently, the manuscript resides at Yale University, where it's been since 1969. While most of the details still remain unknown, many theories have popped up over the years. For example, in 2017, a television writer and history researcher named Nicholas Gibbs claimed to have deciphered the manuscript, which he said was strangely abbreviated Latin. He said the manuscript was a guide to women's health, which other scholars also hypothesized. But scholars quickly dismissed his translation, calling it incorrect and over-speculative. Some believe that the manuscript is a hoax, a more modern fake created in the century before Voynich bought it. This theory would mean the symbols on every page are entirely meaningless. While this is a possibility, with no verification of its exact history, it seems unlikely. For one, radiocarbon dating did not emerge until after the manuscript's 1912 discovery, meaning a potential fraud would not have needed to produce 120 sheets of authentic parchment dated to the 1400s. More significantly, scholars have found recognizable patterns in the letters and words, with different words occurring more often in different specific chapters. This suggests there actually is meaningful information being conveyed. We just aren't able to decipher the script conveying it. Scholars will continue to speculate on the meaning of the Thevoynish Manuscript, but it may only truly be decoded when newer linguistic techniques or technology are developed, if they ever are. Number 2. Kate Morgan was born around the year 1864. Throughout her 20s, she had multiple ill-fated romances while working as a domestic maid in Los Angeles. She married a man named Thomas Morgan in 1885, but in 1890, she ran off with Albert Allen, a stepson of Thomas's stepmother. But the biggest mystery of Kate Morgan's life relates to how it ended. On November 24, 1892, she arrived alone and ill at the Hotel de Coronado in Coronado, California. The hotel, a rare wooden Victorian beach resort, was the largest hotel resort in the world at the time. Staff later described Kate Morgan as ladylike and beautiful, but also melancholy. Then, on November 29th, Morgan was found unresponsive on a staircase leading from the hotel down to the beach. At the time, nobody was able to identify her or inform her family, so she was buried in a nearby cemetery. While the loss of Morgan's life seemed self-inflicted, a passing statement during the coroner's inquest suggested that the weapon she used wasn't consistent with the wound. The theory that foul play was involved has persisted over the years, though there's never been enough evidence to say for sure. Some say Morgan's weapon was actually meant to be used on her husband, but that Thomas came to the hotel and got to her first. But the creepiest twist in the story of Kate Morgan is that many have claimed to see her ghost at Hotel del Coronado, calling her the beautiful stranger. People have reported flickering lights and strange sounds in the room that she stayed in addition to changes in temperature and the sudden opening and closing of the door. Paranormal sightings have also been so common that the website for the hotel mentions the sightings, and the Heritage Department of the hotel has even published a book on the case. Yet even today, Hotel del Coronado remains one of the top resorts in the world. It has a deep history, hosting celebrities such as Marilyn Monroe, and the possible presence of a ghost has, if anything, attracted even more attention for the hotel, even if this creepy mystery remains unexplained. Number 1. On the night of February 24, 1978, 5 young men from Yuba City, California went to a college basketball game at Chico State, driving in a turquoise and white 1969 Mercury Montego. It was the night before a week-long basketball tournament they themselves were planning to play in for people with mental disabilities, sponsored by the Special Olympics. But the men never made it to the game, and in the end none were found alive, leading to one of the biggest unexplained historical mysteries. In the wake of their disappearance, police found the Mercury Montego parked on the side of the road in the Sierra Nevada. However, this raised more questions. Why would the 5 men have driven 70 miles from Chico, far from any path back to Yuba City? And why would they have abandoned their car in the cold? To make things more confusing, eyewitness accounts led the police to believe the Yuba County 5 had returned to the same spot in a new vehicle, a red pickup truck. Where did that truck come from, and were other people involved? The remains of 4 of the 5 men were eventually discovered, all having passed away from hypothermia. 2 were found near the road, while 1 was found near a trailer. The final body, Ted Wire, was found under sheets on a bed inside the trailer itself, and it seemed he lived at least several additional days after his disappearance, with frostbite keeping him in bed. Based on the evidence like one man's sneakers in the trailer with Wire, it's been suggested that multiple of the men had been inside, but it doesn't all add up. Why did the men take some but not most of the food stored in the nearby sheds? Why didn't they turn on the heat using the butane tank? Some have suspected foul play due to the many inconsistencies and different aspects of this mystery, including the one man who was never seen again. Over 40 years later, the unexplained nature of what happened to the group of friends makes this one of the most haunting mysteries in history. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.